Hi, welcome to My Mom Calls It Soccer. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Chase, and I call it football.
And this is a podcast about all things soccer. It is really designed for people who maybe aren't super familiar with soccer, like me, but who are growing to love the game. So I've been an NFL fan, a Major League Baseball fan, a basketball fan my whole life. And my son Chase is really into soccer. Football, as he calls it. And through him, I am learning to love the game. And there's a lot to learn, and he's been teaching me a lot of that. And so that's our reason for the podcast, is to share that with other people who maybe are not familiar with the world of soccer. For me, with the NFL, there are 32 teams, and it's pretty easy to keep it all in my brain. What's happening with soccer, there are lots of leagues, lots of teams, then there is national play, and so there's just a lot to learn. And Chase is teaching me, and with the World Cup coming to North America in 2026, we thought it might be a great time to share some of that with other people. If you are already super into soccer or football and you know all of this, then this may not be a fit for you, although we hope you watch, and we would love for you to tell us things you'd like us to discuss or add to the conversation with us. But if you are someone who is new to soccer, we are hoping that this will be a helpful podcast. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about that's been confusing for me as I came into learning about soccer are the different leagues. And so, Chase, can you tell us a little bit about what the different leagues are, or maybe the big 5 leagues that people should be aware of?
So Ligue 1 is the French league, and...
League what?
Ligue 1.
Ligue 1?
Yeah, it says Ligue 1, but in French they say Ligue 1.
Okay.
So it's the French league, and recently it's been dominated by PSG a lot. They've won the league many times, but it is a very rough league around there in France. Defensively, it's very tough and physical, and it is underrated a little bit.
Is there anyone that maybe a casual soccer fan would know who is a player who plays in Ligue 1?
I would say probably Ousmane Dembele would be a big one. He's a big name. He's in his early 30s as of now. He's been kind of a flop in his recent years at Barcelona. He was a wonder kid at Dortmund, which was in the Bundesliga, then went to Barcelona, which is in La Liga, and we'll talk about those two leagues. And in PSG, he's really found his form recently.
And this is where it gets confusing for me with the different leagues. And so you're going to help me understand that and help others understand that as well. So, okay, so Ligue 1, what is another league that's a part of the big 5 leagues?
The Bundesliga. That's the German league. And it has been dominated by Bayern for 11 years. 11 years they won it, the league, 11 times in a row. But recently, last season, a team called Bayer Leverkusen went on an invincible season and won the league, which means they never lost. They drew a couple of games, which is a tie, and won, but they never lost a single game in that league. And they won the league. This season now, though, it's kind of tough for the two. This week, actually, they both drawed when they faced against each other this weekend, 0-0. And Bayern are just looking to hold on to their lead. They are, I believe, 7 points clear.
And they're perennially, they are a top team in that league. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. And then you and I and Grandma went and watched some friendlies last year in Vegas, and we watched Borussia Dortmund play, and they are in that league as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
They're not too good in the league.
Okay.
I believe last time they're not in like the top 6 or anywhere near that. I don't even think they're in the top half of the league. But in the Champions League, which we'll probably get onto later, they've been pretty good. I believe they beat Sporting CP 3-0. And in the Champions League, they've been really dominant with their wing attacks. The wingers, we don't know about that yet.
These are all things that we're going to learn about together.
But they've had some coaching problems. Recently, they just fired their coach and now have a new one. And they've still been kind of struggling, kind of not, which really isn't usual for them. Most of the time, they finish in the top 4. Most of the time, second. But recently, they've really fallen off. They were actually in the Champions League final last year.
Okay.
But
we don't, in Champions League is a whole other thing. So, okay, so back on our top 5 leagues. What's next?
The Serie A. That's the Italian league.
Okay. Serie A.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In English, it'd be like Serie A, but people just call it Serie A because of Italian accents.
Okay.
It's a very competitive league right now between these two teams, Inter Milan and Napoli. Napoli are, I believe, 4 points or 2 points clear of Inter Milan, as they actually did drop points and they drew today or yesterday against Lazio. And Inter Milan actually had a chance to take that and get first in the league, but they lost to Juventus 1-0.
Okay.
So it's very competitive. It looks like any of them can win the league, both of them. Atalanta, which is in 3rd place, they don't look like they can really compete for it. They're 51 points. I believe they're 7 points off from Napoli. So it's really just like a
kind of between
two horsemen
teams.
battle.
A 2-horse race. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we've got 3 of them so far.
Mm-hmm.
The 4th one that we need to know about is
It's La Liga.
Okay.
And that has 3 teams competing for the league.
Okay.
And recently, 2 of those teams have dropped points, and both of them had a 1-1 draw, and they both got red cards in those games. And Barcelona are looking to take the lead off of goal difference.
Okay.
So they will match the points of Real Madrid, which is currently 1st place.
Okay.
But if Barcelona beat Rayo Vallecano tomorrow, which this video won't get out in that time, so we don't know what it is as of now, they can look to be first place.
So La Liga has your team is in 2nd place. That is your 3rd place.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and they're trying to pull into 1st. So tell everybody who your team is.
My team is FC Barcelona. I've been somewhat of a fan. I remember I used to wear a Lionel Messi backpack with Barcelona colors. I went to preschool.
Yes, and so for those of you who maybe don't know a lot about soccer, you probably do know who Lionel Messi is, who is now playing in the United States for Inter Miami. And he was a huge star at Barcelona, but now Barcelona has a lot of young talent, and we'll get into that more, but that is Chase's favorite team. And something else that we will learn as we go along, which is that you have to pick a team, even if teams are in different leagues. Chase had to teach me that I couldn't have necessarily a team favorite in every league. I had to have a favorite team, and then I could like other teams. We'll get into that later. Okay, so for the 5, what's number 5?
That is the Premier League, which most Americans who kind of know about soccer/football know about. That's in England. It's known as the best league. Sometimes it isn't, sometimes it is. A lot of English people really overrate the league.
Let's not make the English mad. Just in case. No.
But this year, Liverpool are leading by 7 points in the league.
My favorite team, which again, Chase told me I had to pick, and we'll talk about later. We got to see Liverpool play in person this year. So,
yes. Arsenal are looking to capitalize off of any mistakes That's Liverpool have, but every time Liverpool seems to drop points, so do Arsenal. They're very inconsistent. And they've had a lot of injuries.
Who's inconsistent? Arsenal?
Arsenal.
Okay.
They've also had a lot of injuries, especially in their attacking, their front three players. Recently, Gabriel Martinelli and Kai Havertz have gotten injured. And Kai Havertz is their top scorer in the Premier League with 9 goals.
Okay.
And he's not really a striker. He's not that good at it, but he's a whole lot better than someone like Raheem Sterling, who used to be good in the Premier League, but has been a huge flop.
How many goals does he have
9
for the year?
in the Premier League.
What does that mean?
In the league?
He's only scored 9 goals all year?
No, just in the Premier League. That's not all around.
What does that mean? How many Premier League games have they played?
I think it's like 28.
Okay. So he scored 9 goals in Premier League games, but he's then maybe scored other goals in Champions League games, which is a whole other thing that we'll kind of get to, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so 5 leagues, just name them off real quick.
Premier League, Serie A, Ligue 1, La Liga, and the Bundesliga.
Okay. All right. Those are the 5 main leagues that we'll be talking about. Of course, we have MLS in the United States, and we will talk about MLS some, and then we will probably also talk about some other leagues as maybe we talk with people or meet people who have interests in leagues in other countries. But am I correct that most countries in the world, or a lot of countries in the world, do have their own soccer leagues?
Yes.
Okay, another thing that we want to do for you every week is help you understand a term or a rule in the game. Again, these are things that Chase is always trying to help me learn about with the game, help me understand when I'm watching. So to start off on our first week ever, we are learning about
Free kick.
free kick. Okay.
So, a free kick is a method of restarting play in football codes by kicking the ball into the field. It's awarded when the opposing team breaks the rules and the kicking team's opponents can't interfere. In football/soccer, a direct free kick is given for careless, reckless, or excessively forceful fouls like charging, jumping at, or kicking an opponent. The opposing team forms a wall to block the kick.
Okay.
And that is usually outside of the box when defenders kind of get desperate to make sure that you don't go and score a goal. Sometimes they'll do it on accident. Sometimes they'll do it on purpose.
We have dogs.
You have to.
We have a dog named Neymar. He'll make an appearance at some point, I'm certain.
Very sweet. But yeah, you can either attempt to kick it, like shoot it, and score a goal, or you can try and put a cross in to the players, which will have defenders in it, and see if they can get a header and score in the goal. Or you could just give a simple pass to just keep the play going, or to keep the play going. So, I'm talking quietly.
You got to talk up over Neymar, who's
Barking.
yes. Okay, and so a free kick though is different than a penalty kick.
Yes.
And so when is a penalty kick awarded? What typically happens? Why do you get a penalty kick versus why do you get a free kick?
So when an excessive foul is made into the box, as you've seen, that's when you cross like the 18-yard line on the attacking side, and then a person does an excessive play or excessive foul and kicks the defender or attacker and does the same foul as a free kick, but in the penalty spot.
Okay.
And that's more detrimental because it's easier to get a goal or pass to a goal in the penalty box than outside of the box. And so they give a penalty to you, which then you set up on that circle, that white circle that you see in the penalty box.
Okay.
And it's just a 1v1 on the goalkeeper. You take a kick, you can try and mess with the goalkeeper, or you can just try and smash it as hard as you can.
And there's nobody lined up on the
Nobody
penalty
lined
kick.
up.
Okay, just you and the goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so free kick. We all learned something today.
Yes.
Okay, the other thing that we want to do each week is highlight a game that has happened this past weekend or week, and just kind of give you the highlights of it. So we'll pick a different game, probably vary the leagues every week. This week we're picking a game from the Premier League, and it is the Tottenham v. Manchester United. And so give us a quick recap of that game.
So Tottenham beat Manchester United 1-0 at the Hotspur home stadium, I believe. And it came from James Maddison in the 13th minute. I haven't seen the goal, but the all-around play from both teams was kind of lackluster a little bit, especially from Manchester United. They've been really bad this season. And both teams, if you add their points up together, it comes up to, I believe, 53 points, which isn't even more than Liverpool has. And they've both been struggling, but this...
Neymar.
Dog break. With this result, it shows that Tottenham's program and what they're trying to rebuild for seems to work more than with Manchester United. Manchester United recently got a new manager in Ruben Amorim, which was really hyped around as Ruben Amorim dominated the Portuguese league with Sporting CP, which we recently talked about. And when he came to Manchester United, there was a lot of hype around him, and people were thinking that like Manchester United's back, which is a little silly to think, because you can't just bring a manager in at the middle of the season and expect it all to be good. He doesn't have the players that he wants. The board, the people that buy players and distribute money to players and staff and all of that have been really bad at just maintaining things. They haven't bought in any players in the January transfer window. They've only loaned players off. And loan will be a term that we go over next week.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad you said that.
So they loaned Antony off to Real Betis. He's actually been doing good there. He's been really bad for Manchester United, but it seems like they're just the problem, because Antony has, I believe, 3 goals and a man of the match in La Liga. I believe 2 men of the matches in La Liga. And the players' morale are really down there in Manchester United. They just don't seem like they really care at all. And the 2 strikers that they have, Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee, they can't seem to capitalize off of their chances.
You just put anything together.
They don't work.
Yeah.
They don't work.
So, kind of a game between a couple of teams that are at the bottom of the Premier League, which
it was
another thing
14th against 13th
Okay.
place.
And so something we'll talk about later in the podcast also will be relegation and promotion. Those will be terms and things that we teach you about that we do not have in American sports anyway. So we'll definitely talk about that. The next thing we want to talk about with you, Chase, is 3 players that people can watch this coming week that maybe have important matches. One of the things that we want to help people do is, I think, as you connect with specific players, you feel more tied into the game. You have a player that you can follow. One of the things I have liked is learning about players and following them and understanding who their national team is, and then who their league team is, and just being able to watch players across both of those playing for both their national and their league teams. So we thought if we gave you players, you could go out, research, learn something about, and follow. Again, it just helps tie you in more to the game. So 3 players that you wanted to suggest this week for people to follow.
So one that I have is Pedri, who I'll just say Pedri.
Okay, Petri.
He's Spanish.
Okay.
He plays for Barcelona, and he's a midfielder.
Okay.
And he really connects the play kind of with Hansi Flick's double pivot that they play in the midfield. A guy who's more defensive, and then a guy who kind of dictates the play and moves the team up the pitch with the ball and can even recover the ball. He's kind of underrated on his defense a little bit.
And what's his national team?
Spain.
Spain. Okay. All right. And then your second player?
I would say Alessandro Bastoni. He plays for Inter Milan.
Okay.
He is known as top 3 defenders as of now.
Okay.
Maybe the best defender right now. He's pretty good on his offense. He scored a goal in the Serie A, and has 4 assists in there. And he's really just kind of has it all.
Okay.
He fits the coach. I forgot his name. He fits his system very well. He's very tall.
Okay.
As well, lengthy.
And his national team?
I believe he's Italian.
Okay. Are you sure, or you just think?
Maybe. Maybe.
We think he's Italian.
I believe he's Italian.
Okay. And then your third player?
I would go with maybe your favorite player, Mohamed Salah.
Okay.
He's known as probably top 3 players in the world. Once again, maybe the best. He's in competition with Rafinha, who's a Barcelona player.
For the
Ballon d'Or.
Okay.
That's French, and that's known as the Golden Ball. That's like the MVP.
Of across all worlds?
All worlds.
All the leagues.
Yes.
Okay.
And usually it's just Europe because they have all the best leagues, all the best players.
Okay.
Everything.
And he's also in competition for what I think is called the Golden Boot. Is that right?
Yeah, he's scored a lot of goals, but
I think he's in the top 3.
Mm-hmm. Lewandowski is leading for the Golden Boot in all of Europe.
Oh, what is the one? Okay, all right.
You remember when I said goals in the Premier League?
Yes.
So he's number 1 for goals in the Premier League.
Okay.
That's just the Premier League.
Salah is.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And his nickname is?
The Egyptian King.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
he's loved at Liverpool.
Yes.
So.
Yes. All right. 3 players to watch. Again, we'll put their names in the notes so that you can look them up, but makes it more fun if you're following specific players. Mm-hmm. The last thing that we want to talk about every week, we want to give you a match to watch for the upcoming week. One that maybe is between 2 really strong teams, or historically is a match that, a lot of these matches have names. They played each other for so long. So Chase is going to make a recommendation, and we're going to talk about it and hope that you will follow along and watch it. So what is for the upcoming week, match of the week?
Bayern Munich versus Eintracht Frankfurt.
Okay. In the Bundesliga. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes. I'll just say Frankfurt. They're 3rd in the league, while Bayern Munich is 1st. These next few games are a must-win for Bayern Munich if they want to win the league. I believe they go up against Wolfsburg in the next game. Frankfurt have kind of been known to do really well against Bayern. Last year, Frankfurt beat Bayern 5-1.
Okay.
And in 2020, when Bayern Munich, they won the treble, which is the Champions League, the DFB Pokal, which is like their domestic cup, and then the Bundesliga. I believe Frankfurt beat them by like maybe 5 goals or something.
Okay.
And that Bayern side beat teams like Tottenham 7-1, Barcelona 8-2. They beat a PSG team 1-0, but it was in the final, and that PSG team had a better defense, kind of. And still, Frankfurt was able to just beat them. And so, Bayern, it's kind of like their kryptonite, kind of.
Yeah, just a team that they have a hard time
They
beating.
just struggle with all the time.
And so, where is that game being played?
being played at the Allianz Arena at Munich.
Okay,
Which
so
is-
it's a home game for Bayern.
Yes.
Okay, and when is it being played?
On Sunday, 10:30 a.m. next weekend.
So that's Central Time, which is where we are. And so the last thing we're going to do every week is we're going to give you a quick geography lesson. So we're going to take that match of the week that we're suggesting, and then we are going to do minute on the map with Grandma. So just so you know, Grandma, Chase, and I all took a trip to London and Liverpool this year, where we went to 2 Premier League games. We'll talk about that more as the podcast goes on. But we couldn't imagine doing the podcast without Grandma being involved. So we're going to let her take it from here with our geography lesson.
Okay, so our game of the week is going to take place in Munich, Germany, and it is located in the lower portion of the country of Germany, just above where I am pointing. And I am now going to tell you a little bit about the stadium located there. The Allianz Arena is a football stadium in Munich, Germany, known for its futuristic design and color-changing exterior. It's home to Bayern Munich and one of the most modern stadiums in the world. The stadium's LED lighting system can display up to 16 million colors. The stadium's roof is made of 2,784 pneumatic panels made of transparent and translucent laminate.